Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And there's our co-host, beautiful Bubba. How's my beautiful baby? How's my beautiful baby, huh? He's needing to get his teethies brushed. So... So he's really looking forward to that tonight. And I gotta get him in the bathtub. It's time for a bathing. I know, it's time for a puff. I know, I could really use a puff. I will get to that momentarily. I have a nice, freshly squeezed cannabis to enjoy with you. The freshly squeezed. Now this is fresh squeezed cannabis. And when I say fresh squeezed, I just took it out of the press 5 minutes ago. So it is ready to go. I am ready to go. And we will be making that happen momentarily. I have a couple videos for you tonight, including one about the National Institute of Health, which is a U.S. government organization, funding medical testing on dogs in China, which apparently they use the information that they get from those medical experiments for absolutely nothing, because apparently it's illegal to use that data. So they're experimenting, they're doing horrific medical experiments, your government, on dogs for absolutely no reason, except for their evil all the way through. And any kind of suffering, any kind of torment, they love it. Whatever they can do to make people hurt, to make animals hurt. Why else would they be destroying the earth and all its beautiful creatures as quickly as possible? Because they delight in the torment. They delight in watching animals drowned, fish drowned, llamas who can't breathe. I don't know. It's just endless, and the people with all the power do nothing about it, which leads me to believe, again, we have medical experiments done on dogs, which they use the data for absolutely nothing, which means they're doing this just to torture the dogs to death, which means our government is satanically evil. And I myself, I don't really care about the Satan part, but the evil part, I don't like. I don't know if I'm not evil or not. I know that, I don't want to say that I try not to be evil, but I do try to do good. I don't see that happening from our government. It seems like our government does not even try to do good. It seems like it just keeps going this direction of evil and more evil and more evil. So, hey, congratulations on the lottery there, POS. Good job, buddy. Keep up those winnings. Let's see, where are we at? You won the $685 billion lottery? Holy moly. And all I got with this stupid t-shirt? Fuck. I'm about ready for a puff. Oh, we have one more video about the FBI, the Department of Justice. They're forming a task group to look at parents as potential terrorists. People that are going to these school board meetings and asking too many questions or being too passionate about what they feel and what they think is right for their children. They're now considered terrorists because you're not allowed to have an opinion on what's best for your children anymore. The government will take care of that for you. Don't you worry about what's best for your children. We know what's best for your children. And if you don't accept that, we will call you the biggest, most fearful monsters on the planet. So don't make us show everybody what horrible monsters you are, parents. This is a blatant threat in order to try and silence people that are dissenting from what the government is demanding that they do. I need to see more dissent, people. We all need to see it. I don't care if you go to the school board meetings. I don't think that's necessarily the best place for it. I'm not a parent. I couldn't go there and feel comfortable in protesting. But we need more dissent. We need more dissent, more dissent, more dissent. Okay? Thomas Jefferson said the most patriotic dissent is the highest form of patriotism. Dissent is the highest form of patriotism. You want to be a real patriot? Don't go and fucking bow down to the piece of shit U.S. government. Stand up and tell it what a piece of shit it is. And then, just maybe, as we begin to raise that voice of what a piece of shit our government is, as we begin to come together in song, singing about what a piece of shit the U.S. government is, we will become more and more strong, more and more powerful, to the point where we can stand up against any entity at any time. But they have us divided into these little groups where we don't dissent. We just find the politician that listens to us and then says the things that we want to hear. And we go, oh, look, here's our hope. Here's our hope for a better tomorrow. This politician. I'm going to put all my hope for a better tomorrow into this politician. That politician is a fucking piece of shit who needs to go to prison forever, who's doing everything in his or her power to exploit you, to exploit the American people, and to get everything he or she can get for themselves while leaving you crumbs and talking about eating cake. Excuse me. I am about ready for that bong yet, aren't I? Every single politician is garbage. And you know why? Not necessarily because they are garbage, but because they work with garbage. They reach out to work with that garbage. They know that person's an evil piece of shit. They know beyond a shadow of a doubt that person has done damage to our country, to our rights, to our freedom, and then they reach out to work with them. I don't want them to do that. You know what I want them to do? I want them to stand up on fucking microphone all over the news, on the floor of the Senate, on the floor of the House of Representatives, and talk about what pieces of shit their fucking co-workers are. Then we'll know. Then we'll know, hey, this one is the one who just might lead us out. But they don't do that. Okay? They say, oh, this person's not nice. No, they're horrible pieces of shit. Just saw $5. What? Huh? What? $5. I could use $5. Rufus is chill. Rufus is chill. We went for a nice long walk today. Just a beautiful day in Seattle. Couldn't be prettier. Just little wispy, fluffy clouds floating by. We went on a walk. We went a whole bunch of new places. Wow, we went down this one dead end block. We must have walked on it for like a mile, right? But that's back and forth. And I'm telling you, these houses were on the biggest fucking lots. I was like, oh, and this is like a couple blocks from where I live. And I'm like, holy shit. And some of them had some giant trees, man. I was like, nice. Although down the hill a little ways, about a mile or so, there is some giant fucking trees. I love living here. I love the rainforest. I love the forest. I love nature. I think this is the biggest part of why I get, so passionate about this stuff. It's not so much that, I love freedom. I love the idea of freedom. The idea of freedom is the idea of God, right? God said, "Here, have freedom." If there's a God, if there's a creator God, God said, "Here, have all the freedom you can get. Do whatever it is you can make happen." And then these religions go, oh no, you can't do that. Oh no, if you do that, you'll burn in hell forever. God probably would have let me know that when God gave me all this freedom. And something tells me God's probably a better person than that, than to take God's own fallible creation and throw it into a never ending pit of hell and despair and pain because God's fallible creation fouled up. It doesn't make sense that it's all loving, and it makes absolutely no sense to the point of, if you really look at it seriously, it's so easy to see these religious entities, these, religions, doing their best to take away your freedom. They're saying, no, you can't do that. God will hurt you if you do that. And if you do this, if you give us money, God will give you never-ending happiness. Does that make sense? Does this religion shit make sense to anybody? I don't know. For me, it does not make the slightest amount of sense. I do know. It's not that I don't know. It's that I absolutely do know, and I absolutely can see what they're doing. They're taking away your freedom and then brainwashing you into believing that if you don't give them money, you're not a good person and God won't help you. But if you do give them money, you are a good person and God will give you everlasting happiness. I'm sorry, everlasting happiness sounds so boring. It's not that I want to be sad or anything. It's that there's this, you get bored when nothing changes. When it's like, oh yay, the perfect cup of coffee. I love coffee. It just seems like it would not be so perfect after a few decades. I could be wrong. I mean, I always love coming back to my cup of tea. It fills me with the urge to defecate. That's what the U.S. government does to me. I know, I'm going to play a video. Let's play a video about our government. I'm sorry, the U.S. government. I don't really think we should refer to it as our government until we rise up to stomp it to death, because that's what we should do with our government. But unfortunately, at this point, there's no we. And if there's no we, it can't be our government, can it? Because we're all divided. So it's somebody else's government. I wonder who. You think all the rich and powerful people are joined together to make things happen? No, that would be some kind of crazy conspiracy. You think they work together and say, hey, we want the government this way, we want the government that way, while we, the people, take our government and our government just shits on us? I'm sorry. I don't need sex because my government fucks me every day. And this is where we're at, people. I just want us to come together. The reason that I want us to come together so much is because we could be having this awesome party on this planet where everybody is, where there's not this suffering going on everywhere. Because right now, everywhere around the world, there's suffering going on. Which, considering the abilities that humans have, this despair and suffering, it must be planned. It must be part of the plan, because otherwise it really seems like it would be so simple to get people food. Getting people food would be so easy. We live in the 21st century. We could do anything, especially when it comes to this pain and suffering. If it became a focus of what it is, of what we, the people around the world, are making happen, we could end it quickly. Absolutely. Hello, caller. Hello?
Hey.
What's up, G?
How you doing?
Okay, Brandon?
Yeah, it's me, man.
Hey,
yeah.
Brandon, how you doing?
I'm good. Hey, are you still online or what?
We're live right now.
Oh, okay, all right. Hey, man, listen. Yeah, good to talk to you again.
It's good, always
Hey,
good to hear
yo,
from you.
oh yeah, when you was talking about what about pretty much the government working with other countries or China for medications, and now the way it's looking or whatever happens, I don't think any government, maybe 70 years down the road, to say that it was a lab leak, but I don't think they would ever say that now,
Yeah.
because it's too emotional, and then who do you really point the finger at? So it's weird because it seems to me that half of the country wants capitalism, but only wants everything made in America. And the other half wants it to be like a free trade type market. And these things are going to happen whenever when we cross over to combine different technologies and stuff with other countries and shit like that, man.
Yeah.
That's what I was calling to say. Like I don't. It really doesn't matter. I mean, if someone gets mad at a company because they want to make, I don't know, their product in China, that's because China's got 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
And we got 350.
Right.
And they're going to work, and then that's a whole open market out there with Asia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fucked up. But
Yeah.
they'll never tell us.
Well,
I don't think they'll ever come clean with this.
Yeah, Brandon, it's one thing to do, to say, I'm going to take my manufacturing to China, It's another,
Yeah.
and then it's one thing for governments to work together to make things happen. The reason that our government is sending experiments to China is because in this country it would be illegal to do medical experiments on dogs. It would be illegal to do medical experiments on monkeys.
Yeah,
that's the reason that the U.S. is giving millions of dollars to Chinese labs to do these experiments, because they don't care about what's illegal in our country.
Well, that, and can I be honest with you? I was listening to a podcast with one of those Facebook people that was watching all those horrible videos and have to like vote them out or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about in the summer there's dog eating in China.
Yeah.
Where these dogs get put, and it's a thing that they do. It's their culture.
Yeah.
I don't think Americans would want to experiment on certain animals and shit if it's not part of our fucking culture. Like, we don't give a fuck about a chicken,
well,
or a rabbit or a cow.
Right, but monkeys, okay? We don't have monkeys. We don't have monkeys in this country, and yet
we don't exactly.
And yet we have made it illegal to do experiments on monkeys in this country because it's wrong. So
yes, exactly.
So
that and
our government giving another country money to do experiments on monkeys is still wrong. It's even more wrong because our people have decided together that our country shouldn't be doing that. And our government doesn't give a fuck and goes behind our backs and gives Chinese labs, millions of dollars to do these things, like make it so that a virus is more readily passable from one human to another. They're paying them to do those experiments, and you know why they're paying them to do those experiments there? Because they're illegal to do here. You know why they're illegal to do here? Because it's fucked up bullshit that nobody should be doing anywhere. And our government's making sure that it still happens.
Yeah, and listen, that's where, like, certain people in certain positions in society, you can't have people who want to be a mad scientist. You can't have people who, want to destroy everything. Because that's what fucking happens. Shit like this.
No, the whole fucking government is this way, Brandon. All the politicians know this is going on in China, medical experiments on dogs. You know how I know? They get 100 tweets a day about it. Okay? They know, they don't give a fuck. They're not about to do a single thing about it, knowing how horrifically anti-humane it is. Because they're not human and they don't give a fuck.
Well, but I think it's just human beings who are curious. Like who the fuck builds a rocket to go to the moon, for one? Okay, or what the fuck ever, right? It's just because we're just curious creatures.
Right. And
And
look, Brandon, look, it's one thing to do a dissection of a dog. It's another thing to, it's one thing to want to go over there and see what's over there. It's another thing to cut open a live dog and do fucking experiments on its brain while it sits there with no fucking anesthesia while it sits there in incredible pain. This is very different things. Of course humans...
yeah, oh no, yes, I get that, but if you look at it, maybe they're trying to fix our brain with what I'm not defending it. I'm just saying that we're just curious people because I want to know why you opening up a dog's brain while it's still alive, or what experiment are you doing? I'd be curious about that.
And, Brandon, the results that they get from these experiments, they're not allowed to use in the United States because that research is illegal. So they can't use the results in the United States. And so they're torturing dogs, spending millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars for no reason.
Hey, dude, it's fucked up. I mean, I don't agree with it. I have 2 dogs.
I know you do. I know you do.
It's fucked up. Like my dog, she popped her knee out of socket for like a week. And had to take her to a surgeon and everything. But luckily, it just snapped back in place. I felt bad when she was hopping around and she wanted to play and shit.
Yeah.
But some of them people were in their culture. They have no problem slicing anything open. It's no sympathy. It's nothing but like maybe us stepping on a cockroach to them.
Yeah, well, I always feel bad about stepping on cockroaches too, and I believe they eat cockroaches also. But the point is, and I see this in the kung fu movies. I watch older kung fu movies, and I see it. I saw this one where Jet Li was fucking taking live snakes and ripping the skin off them and cutting them up into little pieces and frying them on a roofing tile. You put a fire and you put a roofing tile down and he fries them all up on that. And then there's like a dozen kids that he's feeding with it. It's hilarious. But I understand the different culture thing. That's not the point, though, Brandon. I mean, the point is that our government is paying for it. They're not telling anybody. And this has already been decided as being unhumane and something that good people don't do. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to pay to have it done. Is that what you're saying, Brandon?
Well, if you look at what's going, look what's going on in the world just per se. But sometimes it's more of a financial push to a country to do something horribly bad, or something like that. Look at Yemen.
What about Yemen?
People don't, but like with how Saudi Arabia just constantly bombs Yemen.
Oh yeah, no, that's horrific, man.
Yeah,
Yemen used to be it's not like a beautiful place to visit, but man, they had some amazing architecture that would have been that been around for long.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, there's a few guys in a smoky room that makes these decisions, and we don't know these people, and I don't think it's the people who we think are the people. I think
right. It's not military. It's not military.
No,
it's not some government
military.
official. It's some fucking billionaires that fucking control everything.
It would be more of somebody behind the scenes. Not like no Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. No, because they all need government money to be rich.
Yeah.
We subsidize it so much.
Yeah.
It would be more or less the critical think tanks of the world, and then they start putting pieces in place of, okay, this is when we're going to do this. I mean, I don't fucking know. But it's nobody you see on TV making real fucking decisions.
Yeah, I agree with that. That doesn't mean we shouldn't hold them accountable, though.
Well, but the thing is, no one knows these decisions that like just like like just the past few months, the only thing that the Supreme Court's everyone's been talking about is the abortion stuff, right? But they've agreed on so many stuff back to back, where they all 9 vote because they do so many cases. No one reads shit. No one has time to read a 120-page document from what the judge says, right? Or either a 2,500-page bill. No one has the time to read it. So that's the reason why so many people are uninformed.
Yeah, well, I think these 2,500-page bills should be all cut down into like single item kind of things. I don't like them voting on this whole giant shit. We should know where the money's going, every single fucking penny. It should be made obvious. They should know exactly what they're voting on, and the people should know, right? Oh, we're going to vote on, $50 million to study this butterfly or whatever. Okay, well, that seems valid. You know what I mean? But there's all this bullshit that's thrown in there, and the people and you say there's not enough time. Well, maybe they shouldn't take so much vacation time, Maybe they should work 12 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day.
But the problem is not them. They know what they're doing. It's the guy behind you. It's the woman around the corner. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, the problem is that, we don't know what they're doing, and in doing so, we can't hold them accountable. So if we see them up there voting for, a $500 million for some, stupid thing, who knows what, they vote for really stupid shit, lots of money to go to it. We all know that. If we saw them doing this on an individual basis, we could then hold them accountable for doing this. If they have this big giant bill, then they go, oh, well, we really needed to pass this, and this benefited our state, and so I had to agree with that in order to do this. That's the problem. Is they got these big giant bills that has everything packed into it, and they, and none of us, like you said, none of us know what it is. 2,500 pages. We probably wouldn't know how to decipher it if we did take the time to read it.
Oh yeah, exactly, because you're going to see the legal lingo. That's the reason why shall is such a powerful word in legal documents whenever someone signs a contract. Shall. And you can have a whole debate over the word shall.
Yeah.
But anyway, but the most American people just go vote for just a few things. That means a lot to them. It may be climate, it may be guns, whatever, right? And they, and that's all they care about. But at the end of the day, you're still just selling their soul, because if you look at the numbers, the middle class is just, it's about to be fucking extinct.
It's not just that they're selling their souls, it's that they're selling us all down the river. And I wouldn't mind so much them selling their own souls. Whatever, it's your soul, do what you want with it. I could give a fuck. But you don't want these people who don't give a fuck about the rest of us. These people who run away, their constituents are saying, excuse me, Senator, I'd like to talk to you a minute. And she runs away to the bathroom like that's going to protect her. You're paid to represent you're paid to listen to what these people want to say. And they act like they're not, like they can't be held accountable. They're not accountable to anyone except for themselves, which just really bothers. You ever hear these guys who say, I know that the majority feel this way, but I have to vote my conscience. No, you were there to vote what your people want you to vote, not what your conscience is telling you. Your people are saying, vote this way. You're there to represent them,
But the problem is, those people that voted for him, probably 1/3 of them just care about the 4 or 5 main topics. whether it be climate,
Right.
guns,
Right.
LGBTQ,
Right.
whatever,
Right.
military, whatever,
Right.
right?
Well, this is
No
what I keep.
taxes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
This is what I
So
keep
then
saying.
the other 2/3
Yeah.
really have to suffer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're the ones suffering, but they can't take days off from work or have 45 minutes to call and wait online to try to leave a message to a fucking
Right.
congressman
Right.
or a senator. I mean, because they work, they got families, or they're just they're in the grind.
45 minutes is a long
And-
time out of your day to make anything happen.
Yeah, exactly. But up until they get fed up, kind of like what happened with with all the protesting and shit on both sides or whatever. Like you said, if we could get all those people together, then we could dictate. But I don't really believe, to be honest, that we would be able to make the right decisions as a fucking whole.
The whole thing is at least we look. It's not a matter of us making decisions as a whole so much as us getting together and saying, this government is the problem. These people are screwing us 7 ways from Sunday, and let's start figuring out all the different ways that we're being screwed and end it.
Well, then we just need to look at, to be honest, we just need to take money out of politics and it'll stop.
Absolutely, there should be absolutely
is,
zero foreign lobbyists in our government. No foreign lobbyists. I don't see how really giant corporations need to lobby our government. They have plenty of money. If they want to make something happen, they don't need our government's help. The people need our government's help. Go ahead.
Well, but this is what's not explained to the American people. Like those 2/3 of America that I've seen there, that the 1/3, they're like the blueprint. The 2/3 are the ones who get left out. Because the 2/3 don't really understand when a company creates jobs, it gets subsidized from the taxpayers. So therefore government does pay for everything. Ain't nothing, everything's free.
If you have plenty of money, which is really weird, everything's free.
Exactly. You don't pay no taxes.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. Everything's a write-off. So
right.
they're the ones bitching,
including your new Learjet. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they're the ones bitching about people who was getting $600 a month or whatever, a week, whatever during the pandemic. But look what the fuck have you got? You know, so it's at the end of the day, it's everybody's money anyway. But I believe that there's going to be I think if Trump gets reelected, it's going to be then he gonna go ham.
I don't see that happening, but I would be really surprised if Trump runs for president again.
I think he will.
Right, but look at all the pain in the ass it caused him last time. He knows it's not going to be any better this time.
But so does his supporters, man.
He's getting.
I mean,
He's getting older. He's got a limited amount of time to spend with his grandchildren.
I don't care about them.
I figure he doesn't care all that much about him, but
Yeah. But all right, Mike, he's gonna hit you up, man. Talk
yeah,
to you for a while,
it's been a couple days, man. I always think about you when you're not around.
All right, brother, I appreciate it.
Okay, tell Ty I said hi.
I will, man.
Okay,
Take care.
Talk to you later. That's our buddy Brandon. I'm gonna go heat up my tea. I need warm tea. Warm tea is so good. I'm gonna go heat up my tea, and then I'll come back and we'll have a nice puff. And I'm gonna play a video for you about our government funding medical experiments on dogs and monkeys and other creatures. Funding medical experiments on dogs in China, because it would be illegal to do it here. And the experiments that they're funding, the data they get from making horrific medical experiments on dogs, they're not allowed to use in this country because we're not supposed to be doing horrific medical experiments on dogs because we're better people than that. Apparently not the people in the government, obviously. I will play that video for you now while I heat my tea, and then we'll heat up the bong and have a nice puff. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Animal testing on dogs, monkeys, and other animals. As we were investigating this, we noticed that 27 labs in China were authorized by the NIH to get U.S. tax dollars for experimentation, including the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And when we started to drill down, we found this grant that involved capturing bats in the wild and isolating coronaviruses and manipulating them to make them more deadly to people and transmissible.
Now, and this is hard to bring to the folks here. We talked about it yesterday briefly, and we want to bring you back to expand on it further. One of the things you've recently exposed is that they were funding, the NIH was funding some experimentation on dogs, on beagles. They were doing what was called debarking them, taking their vocal cords out, and ultimately had to slaughter them. I mean, how did you find this out? And tell us that story. It's just disgusting on so many levels.
So we're constantly, our team of researchers is filing Freedom of Information Act requests with the NIH, suing them to get records because there's a stunning lack of transparency and accountability at the NIH. And obviously the situation in Wuhan is a prime example of that. But we recently got documents back from NIAID, Anthony Fauci's division, showing that he's funded a series of incredibly cruel and wasteful experiments on dogs. Most recently, the experiments we exposed involved a $1.68 million contract to inject dogs with experimental drugs. First, as you mentioned, they debark them. They do what's called a cordectomy, where they rip out their vocal cords so they can't bark and make noise in the lab. Then they injected them and force-fed them experimental drugs for a few months and then killed them, even though these tests are incredibly wasteful. And the NIH says these were for purposes of an FDA application. The FDA has said very clearly it does not require testing on dogs. So this is just another example of Anthony Fauci being out of step with science.
I want to really talk about this for a second. So Anthony Fauci's group is spending almost $2 million and torturing defenseless, these poor animals that have absolutely no medical purpose whatsoever, because the FDA has said it doesn't matter what they do, we would never use that as a basis to allow or disallow any sort of drugs or any sort of finding that they find. Do I have it right?
They don't say that they don't allow it, but they don't require it. There's other ways you can do it without torturing dogs.
And so Fauci's group funds an experimental testing site that debarks beagle dogs, feeds them with some drugs, and then kills them when they're done using them. And there are other ways of doing this.
That's right. They chose to use dogs when they could have done something else. And they also, and I'm sure this will upset you and your viewers as well, the reason they pick beagles, and it says it right on the Department of Health and Human Services website, is because they're small and docile, meaning they're easy to abuse. It's the most diabolical thing you can imagine.
Despicable, Justin, absolutely despicable. Again, you guys were the first to discover the ties to the Wuhan lab. You're first to discover this as well. We're going to bring you back because I think you guys are onto something here, and you got some good some legal departments that are getting you some documents that we all want to hear. And again, transparency is everything, folks. At the Bounce, we're trying to bring it out. Justin Goodman, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry. I always try and get back before the music starts. I really do. So I just find that whole clip disgusting, and I think it's a really good sign of the people who are in our government. They're just evildoers, and they don't mind spending your money and the good name of America and your good name in doing evil. They soil your name. They soil the good name of our country in doing evil on a daily basis. And I believe it has to be who these people are through and through. Is that they're evil in their hearts. It's who they really are. They derive some kind of pleasure from doing evil, it seems to me. I don't know how you could live with yourself if you weren't deriving some kind of pleasure by doing these evil deeds on a daily basis, or at least signing off on them. Oh, yeah. Because if you're signing off on doing evil deeds, you're evil. I'm going to heat up the pipe now because I can. So give me just a sec, and we will have a nice puff, shall we?
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
Okay, I got the bong all heated up. I am so ready for a fucking fat dab here. So shall we have a puff together? That seems like a very nice thing to do. By the way, RC, I agree. Emotionally, dogs are family members. At least, if you have a heart. All right, where were we? We were talking about the wizard. No, it wasn't that. It was the evil that our government does on a daily basis. In your name, with your money. I just think that the good people of this great country deserve so much more than evildoers representing us, because evil doesn't represent me. Like I said, I'm not overly concerned with evil that I do. I don't want to say that I try to limit myself, because I don't try to limit myself. I do try to do good all the time, everywhere. Now, that being said, I probably do some things that are evil. It's just the culture that we live in, I think it's very difficult to do everything perfect. We're fallible creations, most of the time, I imagine when I'm not doing things as good as I should, I feel bad about it. So, although I try not to feel bad either. Like I said, I don't try to judge myself too harshly. And it's not so much that I'm judging myself as that I wanted things to turn out better, you know. So where are we? Right. Evil that our government does on a daily basis in our name with our money. I think that I'm kind of shocked, really, that there's not a lot more people rising up, that there's not more of a coming together in this country. When we see the evil that's done on a daily basis in our names with our money, you know, why are people not? I guess it's because, like Brandon was saying, you know, we don't have time to read a 2,500 page document. I don't think the 2,500 page document all that much needs to be read, as that the people need to come together. We need to find the time to come together, which it seems to me there should be some kind of option online. I mean, all the kids last year learned school online. You know, everybody did business online. So it seems like, although I don't know how much that limits the audience. You know, everybody seems to have some kind of access to online, more or less. Much on the more side. And I think there's just gotta be a way, you know. With all the ability to communicate at this time, how can people be so divided, you know? We see there's, you know, I can't think of another entity besides the U.S. government that's doing evil in my name on a daily basis. Now, if you can, I would love to hear about it. I would love to know what entity that is that does evil in your name. Actually, not so much your name as our name. That being said, I cannot think of one that does evil in my name. Unless, of course, you count, like, you know, I eat chicken, right? So maybe the people who grow the chickens are doing evil, you know? Which I hate to think of, but it's most likely the truth. Like I said, it's not so much that I care about doing evil, or that I'm actively trying to do evil. It's that you know, in this world, there's some really it's hard to live all the time, you know, doing good. That's what I was saying earlier. And trying, like I said, I try not to be overly judgmental when it comes to myself doing evil, because I'm not doing it in someone else's name, right? I'm not somehow forcing the evil that I do, which is eating chicken, onto someone else. You know, I'm not making you eat chicken. I'm not the one, you know, that's, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. The U.S. government, on the other hand, is doing evil on a daily basis in my name, because I'm a U.S. citizen, which means this is a representative government, which means they're representing me in doing evil on a daily basis. I can't think of any other entity that does this. And I believe that we all deserve better. And I believe that that we could make it better. I believe that the world doesn't have to be this way. I believe that we could have a really awesome, you know, party space here on Earth if the people would get together, if the people could move beyond their bullshit governments, right? Because I don't see the people as needing to be governed. If we were in party mode and everybody's celebrating, yeah, there might be a fight here or a fight there. But that's because, you know, my football team didn't win and your football team sucked and I've had way too much alcohol. Which is generally the reason, you know, fights break out. or your girlfriend's a fucking hoe. You know, don't talk about my girlfriend. I'm just saying. I think that we don't have to be in this mode where, you know, you have to go and do this, you know, 5 days a week, from this hour to this hour. You know, at least not as much as we do. You know, I think it should be. I think we should be able to have a better planet, a better place to live and breathe and eat and love and party and dance and sing and all the wonderful things that we like to do. Unfortunately, it seems that we're led by pure evil, who doesn't even see that as an option. I mean, I may be completely delusional. There's a good chance of that. That doesn't mean that what I'm saying doesn't make sense. Doesn't mean that there's not an option. See, I don't see how it has to be this way. I just see that the people in charge want to hold humans down. They like having humans in this little system where you do what we say 5 days a week, and then we'll let you have a nap. And maybe if you're good, you can go enjoy your weekend. We won't send you home with homework. But don't write anything on your Facebook. Don't say anything about the government or the Republicans or freedom or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. I know we can have a better world than this. I want a better world for the people coming behind us. It's not so much for me. I don't want to leave this messed up, fucked up shit without at least trying to make something happen that, you know, whether it be start the discussion, you know, plant the seed, you know, I don't know. I'm here to have a discussion. I'm here to plant the seed. I'm here to make clear. Doesn't have to be like this. It's not the way it's meant to be. It's because evil people are in charge. That's the way it's like this. That's the reason that it's like this. Because I'm quite sure that if it was you or I or your mom in charge, that there'd be at least some empathy, you know. There'd be, because I don't see that. I see the government, the people at the top as, you know, let them eat cake. I see, that's how I perceive them. While, you know, we're kept as workers. And I don't know. I believe that you deserve better. I believe the people coming behind us deserve better. That's really what I believe. And and if we don't at least try, see, and I get how, you know, parents struggle to try and leave something for their children so they can have a foot up, whether it be a college education or home or, you know, a little nest egg, whatever it be. The question is that leaving them a better world? Because what I see is evil that's never going to allow the world to be better unless the people come together. So you can leave them millions of dollars. The question is, are you leaving them a better world to live in? A better hope for tomorrow? Just because you have millions of dollars. Like I said, I've seen lots of people who have millions of dollars who don't smile and don't laugh and don't seem to enjoy. And it's like, you know, with my dad. He said, you can have so much money. And I looked at him and I said, why would I want that? I see you have tons of money. It doesn't make you happy. Why would I want that? Which I think kind of broke him, like, does not compute. The point being, those are the people, you're not going to leave, just a few $1 million isn't necessarily going to leave a better life for your offspring, because it's not a better world. It's the same toilet of a world. It's the same toilet of a government that you're leaving behind to fuck with your children the same way it fucked with you. And most likely, a couple $1 million probably isn't going to make that big a difference. My guess. Most likely. In most circumstances. Now, some of you, it would probably make a difference. I don't know. Like I said, I just don't see it having to be this way. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be that this is the only way it's ever going to be. Now, I have a video about police in Washington State, in Seattle in particular, but also in Washington State, that are not making the vaccine mandate. Like, there's like a third, maybe a little more than a third, I think it was closer to 40% of police officers, I believe in the Seattle area, I don't think it's the state of Washington, have not acquiesced and been vaccinated. I have that story. I'll play it for you in a moment. This is the thing that I was talking about the mandates backfiring on them. If they keep pushing, they're not going to have teachers, they're not going to have nurses, they're not going to have firefighters, they're not going to have police officers. And the real question is, why are the first responders so hesitant to get the jab? Why? How does that make sense? They're the people that are out there amongst the public, touching them, listening to them, speaking with them, day after day after day. How could those people be the ones that are hesitant about getting the jab? So that part does not make sense to me, but I think it's an important video, so I'll play it for you now, and we will be back momentarily. It's not that long a video. Hold on. Here we go.
As 58.4% of the state's population is fully vaccinated against COVID-19. There are still dozens of Seattle police officers who have not submitted proof of vaccination. This is that October 18th deadline for the state's COVID-19 vaccine mandate gets closer. SPD says 292 officers have not complied yet. That number does not include the 111 officers who requested exemptions. Right now, we don't know if those exemptions have been approved or denied. Officers, state employees, and healthcare workers have until October 18th to be fully vaccinated, or they could be fired.
The command staff is actively engaging and encouraging those officers that have not turned in their vaccination card to do that, and preferably before the October 18th deadline.
The president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild is concerned that SPD will lose more officers as the department is already dealing with staffing shortages. The Washington State Patrol says nearly 10% of their troopers could be off the roads after October 18th. 91 troopers have not shown proof of vaccination. The State Patrol could also lose 61 of its civilian workers. Some in law enforcement are concerned that the troopers who are vaccinated will be forced to work more shifts and longer days, which could lead to fatigue.
Again, I find it very odd that the first responders are resistant in becoming protected, because you would think that would be they would be worried about their families, right? The firefighters, the nurses, the police officers. I think a lot of times they have families, right? And you would think that this would be something that would be weighing on their mind a lot. And then there's this huge percentage that seems to be, shall we say, hesitant. So I find that fascinating, especially the nurses. They've been around all this for like 2 years now. They know. They've seen more than we have. So I find that kind of contradictory, So I have one more video about parents being looked at by the FBI as if they're terrorists. I can play that if you want momentarily, or we could have a phone caller. The phone number is right there on the screen, 805-669-6397, 805 Mox News. I don't know. I thought that this would be something. I really want to have a conversation. I'm going to try something over the next week and see if I can rally a few more people to come to our live shows, because I want to at least begin a dialogue, and I find that I don't want to be the only voice, I really, really don't. And I don't want it to be just me and Steve McClanahan or Sober Sean. So I'm going to try next week. I'm going to try a new attempt. We'll try something new to get a couple more people into the room and see if that works. Hopefully, because it would be nice. We could have, it was earlier in the week we had a couple of new phone callers. I feel like the YouTube, how they don't notify people videos of the live streams. I feel like I might have said something in the last few days. Just maybe. And now no one knows if there's a stream tonight or not. Except for the people who, are going to show up. All the beautiful people. I'm going to try something new next week. A little new technique and see. I think what I'll do, if anybody has any ideas, I think what I will do is I think what I'll do is I'll post a video in the afternoon that says live show 7 p.m. Pacific time. Maybe do a poll. I did a poll the other day, and that might have brought people to the live show also. So we'll do both of those things next week, like daily, and see if that drives a few extra people. But you'll have to forgive me if I post a video and then I play it in the live show, because which I won't necessarily do every day, but like I said, it's something new. We'll figure it out. So, again, I don't want to be here just rambling on, as I've been told that I do. So, I guess what we'll do is play a video. Is that what you guys want? You know how I feel about dogs, okay? I think dogs are the most unconditional love on the face of the planet. I think that you can beat a dog, you can starve a dog, you can, keep a dog thirsty. I think you can keep a dog in the boiling sun. I think you can keep a dog in the freezing snow. I think you can leave a dog alone for days. And then come home, and the dog will just be like, there you are! I love you so much! Because, again, they're the most unconditional love on the face of the planet. They just want to love. And the idea of, I'm not here to judge another culture on who they are, their history of eating dogs. You know, I would hope that that would be something that I have not done and won't experience in this lifetime. That being said, I don't want to judge somebody else for what they do in their culture. Now, in our country, in these United States, we have made it clear that we love dogs. We love dogs. We look at dogs as lifelong companions, many of us. My mom, you know, she needed to have a cat. She needed that, you know, and I think it helped her to live longer because she had this being that she was responsible, that she loved and wanted to make sure was cared for, you know, and that's the reason you get out of bed, because my baby might need water. My baby might need to go outside and have a shit. My baby might be hungry, you know, when you're 80 years old. So we've decided that, you know, we don't want dogs treated in this way. We want, you know, we want some respect shown to these majestic creatures who are the most unconditional love on the face of the planet. We want them protected in some way. And we've made, because through petitioning the government and petitioning the government and petitioning the government and petitioning the government, we made laws that say you're not allowed to do medical experiments on these beautiful, unconditional, greatest unconditional love on the face of the planet creatures that we love, we treat as family, our fur babies. You can't do that. And our government was the ones who made those laws, or was mandated into making those laws. So our government goes around those laws and funds Chinese medical experiments on dogs to get data which is illegal for them to use in this country. So that's pure evil, and I don't know how many people are aware of that. I don't care. If you're the ones who sign off on it, if you're not standing up and because like 9/11, like World Trade Center 7, these Congress people get sending them messages every day. Dogs are being tortured with American money and American approval in China. Why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you speaking out about this on the Senate floor, on the House of Representatives floor? You know, oh, we have more important things to do than look out for dogs. It's not looking out for dogs. It's following the law that the American people pushed you to make happen. And now you're trying to skirt that law like you do all of them. I want to find something. We'll have to find something else to talk about, I guess. Is this what's happening? Am I talking about the wrong things? How about balloons? I saw the prettiest balloons today. Someone's birthday. They were all shiny. How about birds? I saw 2 birds yesterday. At first I thought it was an eagle, and then I thought that doesn't look big enough to be an eagle, and then I saw the second big bird following it, same kind, identical in shape, and I thought, well, eagles fly in pairs, and then I was like, but they don't look like they have white heads, and they don't look, usually I can see the white heads, and they don't look big enough, so I don't know. But I saw, and then like a week ago, I saw, I think it was a falcon. It might have been a hawk. It wasn't very big. It was about this big. It was such a beautiful bird, and it was sitting on a chain link fence. So it was about 7 feet high, and there was a bunch of crows in the trees around it, and it was sitting on the fence. And I walked right up to it. I didn't see it because they have this camouflage in it. There's like a big bush behind it, and I walked up to it, and I was like within, I don't know, I would say less than 10 feet. And I looked up, I'm looking at the crows. They're sitting on the fence, like down a little ways, because even though they're like, tell the crow to get the fuck out of, I mean, not the crow, the bird of prey, whether it's a hawk or eagle or a falcon or osprey, which I guess is a hawk, they will tell it, get the fuck out of my neighborhood. But they don't get very close unless they're in flight. If they're in flight, they'll go right in and they're like bomb it, like try and make it crash. But you don't want to fuck with it too much. It'll take you out. If it gets one little talon on it, you're dead. So, but I saw it was like less than 10 feet away, 7 feet high. I'm just like, whoa, hey, what are you doing? And it looked at me, and then I realized there was crows, all these crows everywhere. And I was like, it's cool, bro. It's all good. I'm not trying to, be one of the people scaring you away. And then Rufus walked underneath them, and he just like, we were at the park, right? And it's like, took off flying real low across like the field, and then just choo, and all the fucking crows took off following it. It was, I always feel bad for the big birds when the crows, because those crows, there's a lot of them. You see like 200 crows. That makes a lot of noise. But I love living in the rainforest and seeing stuff like that. It's always, fun. Or it's not so much fun as like wonder filled. It's like, and this is the way I see the earth, as being wonder filled. It's just full of wonder everywhere you look. If you give it the opportunity, it will show you the wonder in every direction. And although you probably will have difficulty finding it looking at your phone, even though the wonder's all over your phone to look at, you'll probably not experience it in a similar way, even though it seems like you are. It's all around us all the time, a wonder-filled earth. And that's a big part of the problem, that we don't really get to experience it because there's these people that are trying to hold us down. There's these people that are trying to make the wonder go away. That's what they're trying to do. I've been trying to figure out what their master plan is. Here it is. We figured it out. The master plan of the masters that control the planet are trying to make all the wonder go away. All the amazing jewels and irreplaceable creatures. They're trying to make them all go away. That can only be the plan. That seems like the outcome that we're headed towards. So this can, they're not short-sighted. I guess they're probably short-sighted. They're probably thinking, all right, I'm a billionaire, right? I'm going to get off the planet, and I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. I got mine. It seems like that's what they're thinking. But it also seems like there is a plan to just, it's like the evil that exists hates the wonder, hates the beautiful creatures, hates you being able to go outside and wander around and see amazing things if you're looking. The evil hates that. The evil doesn't want you to see the wonder. The evil wants you to just be this worker drone. Worker drones, I don't know. Do they see the wonder? I look at the bees. The bees see flowers. The bees, they look at my flowers when I'm growing flowers. And my flowers just aren't that pretty. I wish they were. One day they will be. But the bees are attracted. The bees are like, hey, what is this? They don't spend much time on them. They're like, hey, this is pretty. They think it's pretty. So you have to think that maybe the bees do see the wonder. I don't see them so much as worker drones. I don't like that. They go out in all kinds of directions, and do their job. But there's more to it than that. Otherwise, why would they take the time to look at my cannabis flowers? Huh? I don't know. I see the wonder in every direction, and I'm really glad to perceive things in that way. And I see people who do not perceive things in that way. I see people who want to be separate from the wonder, want to be separate from the earth, want to be, I don't know. Number one, you can't be. And number two, this desire isn't going to benefit anyone. So why would you want that? But I see people, they seem to, protect themselves constantly from the earth. And I don't know, it makes no sense to me. I remember we were down at this beach called Double Bluff Beach, right? And Craig calls it Useless Bay, which is this water. It comes in, and at low tide, right, the water's like about a foot deep, and you can walk out 200 feet. It's a foot deep. And we went there, and it was freaking awesome. It was a very low tide, and I took my feet off and I started stomping through the water. It's a foot deep, so you stomp a little bit. I'm stomping through the water, and it's warm. It just feels like amazing. And I see these like I don't know, white-haired people walking, and I'm like, you got to take your shoes off and walk in the water. This feels great. And me and the dogs kept walking, and then when we come back the other direction, they're there. They're all barefoot and they're walking in the water. They're like, "That was such a good idea." So I love having influence on people, positive influence. I don't know. I see the wonder, everywhere, all the time. Not so much indoors. It's still there. I mean, I see it in the dog, the dogs. I see it in, I don't know, not so much indoors. I am at wonder of what I experience on a daily basis. I think once I get my garden going, I look around all the time and I'm like, what a life, I think once I get my garden going, which should be very, very soon, and the next few days, I have to clean all the tents out, and I have to rearrange all the space, because the space over there is all messed up. There's a bed in there for Rufus to sleep, not inside the tent, but right next to it. And and he's walking through the tent right now to get to his bed, so I have to clean up the other side of the desk, because there's about this much room. I have 2 tents in my bedroom, and there's about this much room for my desk. So I have to find a spot for Rufus, and I think if I move the bed to the other side of the desk, it'll be easier for him to get to. So I will be doing that soon. Look, I'll be happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Or I can sit here and talk about cleaning my room and moving the dog's bed. I looked at a lot of thumbnails for this particular dog picture, and I looked at pictures that had like a bunch of different dogs. I looked at pictures that had dogs looking like, don't fuck with me, China. And which, if I was more artsy, I probably would have taken one of the dogs that looks a little bit rabid, and I would have put, don't fuck with me, China. That being said, I also, I looked at a couple puppy pictures, but that dog just looked like the unconditional love that I was talking about. I perceive dogs as the most unconditional love on the face of the planet. And and you can see it in that dog's face, and that's why I picked that picture. Just the dog looks so happy and full of love. So, and I think any dog can really be that way, if from the beginning, one of your objectives is to fill the dog full of love. Not that you have to, but if you do, it will just radiate. Just look at the dog and you can just see, the dog is just full of love, even, like I said. I will play a video for you now while I go heat up my tea, and I will be back in case anybody wants to call. The telephone number is right there on the screen. 805-669-6397, 805 Mox News. Yes, I see raincones. I see rainbows and unicorns in all of our future. At least I'd really like to. At least not so much in our future as the people coming behind us. Not so much rainbows and unicorns, but it'd be nice if they had at least one or two left to enjoy when we're done. That's all. Okay, coming up video. Parents that DOJ, Department of Justice, wanting to make have formed a task group in the FBI to look at parents that are questioning school boards when it comes to, school board meetings where they're asking too many questions and demanding that their voices be heard. The FBI has now formed a task group to look at these situations and decide who are terrorists and who are not. Parents trying to look out for their children are now considered terrorists, and I don't know how much lower our government can go with this terrorist bar, right? Like I said, the terrorist thing has to be a very, very high bar. The people on January 6th were in no way, January 6th protest, were in no way, shape, or form terrorist. No way, shape, or form. They were protesters. They were most likely encouraged by the FBI and your local police department. Again, I don't know how much lower our piece of shit government can go than trying to, threatening parents that care about their children's education, such, threatening them. They're trying again. This is what this is. It's a threat. It's some kind of a hopeful mind control to try and get the parents to back down. I can't wait till they bust a couple of these parents and label them domestic terrorists. Go for it. Go for it, Joe Biden. Go for it, Attorney General. So that we can all take a shit in your mouth at the same time. Because it ain't gonna fly. You go ahead, you actually bust some fucking parent. Have the FBI bust some parent. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so clip 3. FBI looking at local parents, looking at caring parents at school board meetings and other places, protests. Obviously, looking at other protesters too. Because you don't just look at this little, but they've been looking at all the protesters for a long time. This January 6th thing, I told you this was a very bad thing that they were using this word terrorist. And now they're just spreading it all over willy-nilly like, protesters are terrorists. Which I saw in the Occupy thing too. So here we go. Boom. And by what I mean in the Occupy protest is that the Occupy protest began on October 5th. Remember the 5th of November. They began on November 5th, 2011. And 2012, November, would be Barack Obama's re-election as, his second term as president. Barack Obama's Justice Department ruled or sent out a memo saying that the Occupy protesters, who had been in the streets for months, and a big part of their protest was Obama. And I think really the entire Occupy movement was about where is the change that we were promised, Obama. And they did it at the beginning, 1 year before the election, his second, term as president. And a few months into it, and they went into the streets and they set up tents and they stayed there for months in all these parks all across the country. I remember I was in downtown Seattle when they went 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And in a matter of 10 minutes, there was 500 tents set up across this across this park right in downtown Seattle. And it was a beautiful thing, man. I remember there was one girl there, and she was like, she kept jumping off and saying, "You kids, get off my lawn!" It was hilarious. And there's people playing music and protest signs. It was beautiful, right? And that was at the beginning. And then a few months later, Barack Obama's Justice Department labeled the protesters as potential terrorist threat. And they went in and they bashed everybody's brains. They started bloodying people's faces, spraying them with pepper spray, hitting them with flashbang grenades, like you would a terrorist group, I guess. Tear gas. They dunked a tear gas canister off Scott Olson's head. And this is the government, this is they don't want to hear your voice. They don't have to hear your voice. You're a terrorist if you expect them to hear your voice. This is the way the government, from what I can get out of this is the way the government now perceives all of us. If you want them to hear your voice, our representative government, if you expect them to hear our voice, your voice in particular, you are a terrorist. There's the title for tomorrow's show. Are you a terrorist? I love it. Thank you so much, people.
As this battle over masks and CRT gets elevated to possible charges of domestic terrorism, the head of the Department of Civil Justice Rights Division, Kristen Clark, is currently being questioned at the Senate Judiciary Committee. This was on voting rights, but it has expanded to that topic as well. Mark Meredith has more. Mark, what are you hearing in there?
Hey, Martha, good afternoon to you. Well, parents who've become fed up with these curriculum choices and mask mandates, like you mentioned, in schools, they've been increasingly showing up at school board meetings. So now the federal government says those same meetings are getting out of hand. This week, the Attorney General directed the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office to review what kind of threats school board members face. The Justice Department saying these threats are increasing in communities coast to coast. So now the government even wants people to call them when they're concerned. Officials say threats should be reported to the FBI, and then they'll be reviewed by the National Threat Operations Center. As you mentioned, happening right now on the Hill, the Assistant Attorney General, she's facing questions from lawmakers about why she thinks her department is the best way to safeguard education officials, but plenty of Republicans say they are outraged by these latest decisions.
Parents are now becoming more aware of what's being said in their classroom, and they're becoming upset by it. And what's the answer from the Biden administration? To silence you, to nationalize elementary school. This is wrong.
But some groups, including those that represent superintendents and school boards, are supporting this. They say we oppose the increasingly aggressive tactics creeping into board and community meetings, and we cannot let frustrations and tensions evolve into name-calling and intimidation. But Fox, we are hearing plenty of parents today who say they have no plans to sit down and shut up. And we're also hearing from the Alliance Defending Freedom today, which says those parents have the right to speak up, and they want the Attorney General, Martha, to reverse course. Martha.
This is something very interesting. Thank you very much, Mark Meredith. So back in June, 2 men were arrested after this raucous school board meeting in Loudoun County, Virginia, which became known really as ground zero in this battle over social issues and teaching in America's classrooms. Ian Pryor is the father of 2 Loudoun students. He's also the executive director of the parent group Fight for Schools, and he's previously worked in the Trump administration's Department of Justice. Ian, good to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me, Martha.
Yeah, this is pretty surprising. Why is it, when I went through what they're talking about specifically, I kept looking to see if there was instances of death threats or going to people's homes, things along those lines. If those are out there, we haven't seen them, but it sounds like it's mostly what's happening in these meetings that they're referring to, which seems to have been handled at certain moments by law enforcement. Is there more here that we should know about?
No, I mean, there's really not more here that anyone needs to know about other than parents are finally speaking up and exercising their First Amendment rights and organizing and going to these school board meetings. And sure, sometimes you're going to have parents that are passionate when they speak. But what is harassment? What is intimidation? I mean, we're allowing now school board officials to call the FBI when they think they've been harassed. Does that mean, a mean tweet or Facebook post? Is intimidation a passionate speech where somebody raises their voice? That's now elevated to the FBI. This is the biggest government overreach I think we've ever seen here, where you have the federal government going after parents.
It is stunning. And, I'll say it again, if there are instances that really cross the line here where people are being threatened, then we will report them. But we haven't, this is what we've seen so far as we cover this story. I want to play this. This is Senator Ted Cruz, questioning Kristen Clark on what the motivation, what the nature is of this new initiative by DOJ and FBI to keep an eye on these parents at these meetings. Watch.
Do you believe parents objecting to the teaching of critical race theory have civil rights in the democratic process?
I don't follow the question, Senator.
You don't understand the question whether parents objecting to critical race theory have civil rights?
The First Amendment is a core value in our democracy, and
I didn't say free speech. I said civil rights. School board meetings are democratic. They are petitioning your local government. Do they have civil rights that the voting rights gives a damn about?
Yet they have the right to express their view, to challenge the school boards, to ask.
And is it beneficial for the Attorney General to label them as domestic terrorists and direct the FBI to target them?
The Attorney General's memo deals with threats against public servants.
I wonder if that includes Kristen Sinema, who's been, chased into the bathroom and chased through the airports. What did you think about that exchange, Ian?
Well, I think we talk about core values and the First Amendment being a core value. The bottom line is this memo from Merrick Garland is going to have a chilling effect because it's so vague, it's so overbroad, and now people are going to wonder, well, if I say this at a school board meeting, are they going to think it's a threat? Are they going to think it's intimidation? And you're going to get people wondering, well, what can I say and what can I say? And that's unconstitutional.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go into the board meeting when they are accepting public comment and be worried that your name's going to end up on a list or that maybe you will be under some scrutiny that you wouldn't have been under otherwise just because you spoke and exercised your right to free speech in the United States of America. I mean, I just want to hear more about their justification for this, and it raises questions about where the focus of the Department of Justice is under Merrick Garland. When you've got homicides increased by 30% in America, is there a big push on law enforcement, on cracking down on that you're aware of, having been there, having worked there?
Not that I've seen. As I've been saying, when I was at the Justice Department, it was focused on going after MS-13. Now, apparently, it's going after parents of 13-year-olds. This is an unbelievable, as I said, exercise of federal power. You look at these localities, you have sheriff's office, you have the police department. They can handle threats. This is not a question of, keeping people safe. That can be done at the local level. But if the Department of Justice is focusing their efforts on parents and not the major spike in crime across this country, well, then their values are misplaced and they're not doing what they need to do to keep Americans safer.
Ian, thank you. Always good to see you. Ian Pryor.
Right. So I see it that way too. That the local police can handle threats. There's threats that need to be investigated. Somebody calling on somebody up and saying, rah, 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 rah. Then yeah. and most likely there's police at those meetings now. So if there's, some kind of, like, somebody jumps up and says some rah, 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 you know. So what is the point of the Attorney General of the United States telling the FBI to look at parents in school board meetings other than to stop them from speaking out, right? To get them to feel like they're threatened in some way, and that maybe they're, like she was saying, that if they say something, what can we say? What can't we say? If we say the wrong things, we wind up with the FBI looking at us. We wind up on a list, This is America. This is America. The land of the free, people. Don't you forget it. I have tried not to forget it. I've really, really tried not to forget that this is the land of the free. And you see this, right? And you just think, how much more shameful can our government be than to set this poll so low as to be labeling parents that are trying to look out for their kids as terrorists? How low can you set that poll, right? This is a very bad thing. Just like with the Occupy, I think that's really where it began under Obama. Under Obama's Department of Justice, the Occupy protesters were labeled potential enemy combatants. I've explained in the past that in a time of war on terror, there is no enemy combatant. There is terrorist. Okay? So they labeled them terrorists, potential terrorist, right? And by the way, under Obama, during a time of a war on terror, there is no potential. There's no potential terrorist. There's either terrorist or not terrorist. Terrorist. So they labeled the Occupy protesters as terrorists. So basically, if you speak out against the government now, you are considered a terrorist. If you demand that the government hear your voices, you are now a terrorist. I don't know. Do you think that we should do a show titled Are You a Terrorist? Because I was thinking about it for a minute, and I was thinking, maybe people don't want to be answering that question in a time of a Stasi government that listens to absolutely everything. And if you say, yes, of course I am, maybe the question should be, do you think the government looks at you as if you're a terrorist? I don't know. Because I think answering the question, are you a terrorist, may be held against you in court. I don't know. It is possible, and I don't want to put you all under more observation than we already are. So it's probably not a good question. I will find another good question for tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows what tomorrow holds? In the land of tomorrow. I am pretty much done here. I love dogs. I hate this government. Dogs are filled with love. Dogs are the most unconditional love on the planet. This government is filled with evil. This government is the most unconditional evil on the planet. I do not see them as being better than Kim Jong-un. I do not. And it's not so much because they treat us more evil than Kim treats us. Kim treats his people more than I see it as our government does much more evil around the world than Kim Jong-il could ever. Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il could ever hope, could ever dream of doing. Our government does more evil around the world. That's why our government is more evil than the government of North Korea. I don't know if it's Kim Jong, you know what, Kim Jong-un. I think it's Kim Jong-un, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. I should know, damn it. Anyways, and I just think that we deserve better. I think the earth deserves better. I know it doesn't have to be this way, and I know the only way out of it is for us to see each other as humans who each deserve a hand up. That being said, since we don't have any phone callers, right? It's not on Do Not Disturb. Nope, not on Do Not Disturb. It's been waiting the whole night right here. No middle guy, just me and the phone. So we'll try this again tomorrow. Meaning, I guess we've come to that time, people. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mox time, same Mox channel. It'll be Dabs for Donations Friday. And we'd love to have you there. So know that one of these days this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com